And we are live. Welcome to the Process special Saturday edition, breaking down the opening day of the NBA playoffs. I'm Josh Engleman, and we're going to break down 4 games today. It's going to be great. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Special Saturdays edition, man. This is a good time. We're going to break down 4 games. I'm going to go watch Liverpool knock out Man City in the FA Cup. It's going to be a good time. But we got to talk a little bit of basketball. This is easy. Or at least relatively easy. Doing a process show or doing something like this is so much easier in the playoffs because there's no screwing around. Like Dallas might have like a little bit of intrigue just because of the lack of Luka, but we're projecting playoff rotations here. We don't have to mess around with the bottom. We're just going to figure out what is best. We're going to grab rates for every team. We're going to make sure this is up to date. And then we're just going to see quickly who looks good on FanDuel and on DraftKings. Brandjoy, good morning. SMP, good to see you. Nate, Rashad, good to see you guys. Probably not going to have the biggest crowd in the world for this one. It's a Saturday. I went a little later, 8 a.m. There was no way I was waking up at 5:30 and then prepping to do this at 6:30. That was just not happening. So let's I was got a message from friend of the program, Ship My Money, who took down, we could say it. He's won the Nosebleed MLB tournament 3 slates in a row, which is kind of sick. That's kind of sick. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get it started. It's not going to be the same as it normally is. I've already drank half of an iced coffee, so we're still going to get our good stuff in. So rise and grind, everybody. Even if you're rising at 8 o'clock, that's fine. Subscribe to the channel. No, that's not the right bit of this gist. Subscribe to Prize Picks. Oh, I'm pointing at the wrong side. See, I'm all out of whack. I haven't done this show in a week. Prize Picks, right there. Awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. Or click the link in the description of this video. You will get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You'll get a bit of a deposit bonus on that first deposit. We have a Prize Picks player prop tool on Awesemo.com that will help you out a ton. And I think now is a great time to be popping in. I think Prize Picks fits pretty well for playoff slates. Give you something to sweat on each individual game if you want it. So check that out. Ronnie Page, mimosa time. That's a great idea. I should have made a mimosa for this show. Maybe if I hear the wife walk by, I'll see if she can acquire me one. Taryn Holmes watching from a hospital bed, food poisoning. Well, I mean, I'm glad that it's food poisoning. Like, I'm sorry that you're in the hospital. If you're going to be in the hospital, that seems like the best way to do it, or at least one of the best ways to do it. It's not going to be pleasant for you, but I'm glad that there's nothing like long-term wrong. So that's good. But yeah, I hope you feel better. Hopefully this helps. Let's do a cheers quick. So cheers to all of you guys, no matter what you have. I don't know what everybody does on a weekend. It might be more cocktail time. If you got a joint, that's great. But no matter what you've got right now, cheers to you guys. Rise and grind. Let's get this started. All righty. Bam. Screen change. Let's do this. Do we have a tweet? Do I have a tweet that I should be retweeting? I do. Bang. Retweet. Done. So, first game up. Utah Jazz 5-point favorites in Dallas. And we've got the 209 total on this one. Now, we know the big piece of information here, and that is no Luka Doncic. That is going to be a big change for Dallas. On the Utah side, we've got everybody that's normally available outside of Trent Forrest, but that shouldn't really matter. So I'm going to gut this entire rotation, and we are going to start Utah and Dallas from scratch. Things are different in the playoffs. Remember, things get consolidated. So we're going to start it off with Mike Conley. I think 32 minutes feels about right there for Conley. We're going to give Donovan Mitchell the backup point guard run, and I think he's basically set for 36 minutes. I think 38 is probably in the cards, but game one is usually a little bit lighter than other games. So we won't just dive in immediately. We're going to go, I think Rudy Gobert pretty safely going to be out there for 34 minutes, at least in game one. 14 for Whiteside. I think Gobert could very easily go up to 36, 38. He's in exceptional condition. I'm going to say Jordan Clarkson has 28 minutes here as the backup 2. This is a spot now where we're going to get to more Bojan Bogdanovic. I think that's important to note. Because remember, these guys are coming in fresh. They have not played in 6 days. This is the biggest break they've had all year. I think you're just going to get bludgeoned with starters. Bojan, 33 feels about right here, in my opinion. And I think that Royce O'Neal is going to be a little bit less important when Luka is not around. So I'm going to go to 32 minutes on Royce O'Neal. Then we only have to close it out with Daniel House and someone else, whether that's Rudy Gay or Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Not sure it matters all that much. Feels like they're more likely to go to Juancho, just based on the way that this season is closed out. So Jazz rotation, 9 guys for right now. They could very easily get that down to 8. All we have to do now is grab Jazz rates. And this is going to be another thing should be relatively easy. The Jazz don't have anything too crazy to do here. So what we're going to do is pretty simple. We're going to say games where Conley, Bojan, Gobert, Clarkson, and Mitchell all played. And I'm going to take Joe Ingles off the floor. And that's going to be our rates. That is going to be our rates. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, so when all 5 of those guys have played in the game and Ingles has been off, I mean, they've got 1,000 minutes of playing time. We know exactly what we're getting out of the Utah Jazz here. Now, you can probably say that in the playoffs, you get a little bit of a bump to the usage rates of someone like Donovan Mitchell. He's just going to have the ball in his hands a little bit more during the playoffs. Most main creators are going to do that. But we can adjust for that. And rates will concentrate as a series goes on. That's another key piece here. Freddie P, glad to have you here. All right, so let's check out these rates now. First one up, we'll get Donovan Mitchell done. Actually, I gotta change one other thing. There we go. Now we're good. So we'll start with Donovan Mitchell. He's got a 31.5% usage rate this season when all those guys are available. I'm not going to go lower than where we have him right there, or where I have his baseline rate, just because it's the playoffs, so things are going to be different. I will go to 21.7 on Bojan. I will go to 24.8 on Jordan Clarkson. I am just going to take these raw rates from everybody. Even Gobert. Gobert just dominating the boards. It's kind of nuts. But Utah's really easy. We know their rates. They play more minutes together than anybody else. It just becomes really, really easy to want to roster anything from Utah right off the bat. Now, Dallas is where we start having to do some work. Dallas is different because we have no Luka Doncic. This is going to look pretty crazy. I'm assuming Brunson and Dinwiddie are going to be pulling some really crazy, really odd minutes, and they're going to be great values. So let's start at the top. I think 38 minutes for Jalen Brunson seems very realistic in this spot. These guys are going to have to play big time minutes. And we saw even closing out the season, Reggie Bullock playing 40, DFS playing 40, Jalen Brunson playing 36 to 38. When Luka was out, we got 34 minutes out of Spencer Dinwiddie on the 23rd. So I'm going to say that 34 minutes feels about right for Dinwiddie. You can tell me that he plays upwards of 36 or 38, and I would believe that as well. Dwight Powell, that can go a couple different directions. It's a tough spot here against Utah and Gobert. They don't really – I could see them just trying to spread them out even more than Dwight Powell, but not totally sure. I think 26 minutes for Dwight Powell feels about right here. I think Maxey is basically the backup center. Probably plays a little bit more. 36 minutes for Dorian Finney-Smith seems spot on. I'm quite confident we're going to get at least 36 minutes out of Reggie Bullock. I'm not really sure how else that could happen. Bertans will have to play a bit. Are we going to get Tim Hardaway back? I hadn't really thought about it, but it looks like he's a little bit further away than I was expecting. I thought he was closer. It's a shame. They could use him. Josh Green, 18 minutes there seems close to right. I don't really know who's going to be that last guy, that ninth guy to be a part of this rotation. Maybe we get Bertans up to 12. It leaves me 14 minutes. Sterling Brown feels like the most likely scenario. I guess it could be Marquise Chris, but I think that it'd end up being a real problem on the defensive end. So I'm going to say that it's Sterling Brown. But what we really need to do is get rates. And this is where it gets kind of tricky. Well, not necessarily tricky, but we're going to have relatively small samples here. So what we need to say is that Spencer Dinwiddie played in the game and that Luka Doncic was off the floor. And I guess we could say that Brunson also played, because those are the two big pieces here. Also, shouts to Atlanta for knocking out Cleveland. It was always great to see. Fields, you suck. So that was cool. And I really thought the Clippers were going to beat the Pels, but with no Paul George, that gets a little bit more difficult. All right, so you can see we don't have the biggest sample in the world here for games where Dinwiddie and Brunson play with Luka off, but that's the best that we can hope for right now, so we're going to use it. So first thing up, we got these rebounding rates. Because this is the key to everything now. Correct rates on a playoff slate. We want to make sure that we should never have more accurate projections than we do today. And it doesn't take all that much work to do it. Like, for every other team, this is going to be pretty easy. All right, so rates are in. We'll start with Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie, 251 minutes with no Luka on the floor in games that Brunson has also played. 31.5% usage rate for Dinwiddie. Now, I'm not going to go to 31.5. We got Brunson at 29. I'm going to take Brunson to 29. I'm going to say Dinwiddie also goes to 29. Dinwiddie basically has the same rebounding rate and assist rate. Brunson's assist rate goes up a hair, so we will bump that up too. You know what? 2.5 points is a lot. I'm going to take it to 30 instead for Dinwiddie. I think that makes more sense. Probably don't need to make a change to anybody else. There's not going to be enough usage to really matter for anybody. So like Dorian Finney-Smith has a 16% usage rate. I think that I could just let the rest of these guys soak up whatever usage they do. And nobody else, like the assist rate on Dinwiddie and Brunson soaks up everything. Nobody else really does anything. This doesn't become like a big rebounding team in any way. Maybe we get a little bit more rebounding out of Maxey, but I think that's Dallas. So we can look at game number 1 now. And for game number 1, this game tips off at 1 p.m. For Utah, it's not the best in the world here. Like, Mitchell looks fine at 8,200 and 8,100. He's going to play big minutes. I think Rudy Gobert looks pretty solid as well. I think we're just going to see better value and better options. Like, the game total being 209 in this one is a real impediment. That's 7 points short of Toronto, Philly for the second worst. Minnesota, Memphis is 26.5 points ahead of it. Even Denver, Golden State is in the 220s. So this isn't the best fantasy game in the world, but clearly Mitchell and Gobert are the two leading pieces. I think Mike Conley on DraftKings, also pretty interesting. But on the Dallas side, that's where it opens up. Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, exceptional plays. They're both better on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel. In particular, Spencer Dinwiddie is 6,300. That price tag works really well. Jalen Brunson at 7,200, not exactly a problem either. I think that Reggie Bullock on FanDuel at 3,900 provides a really nice value opportunity, especially with no Luka. And then, if you're going to get shares of Maxey or DFS, I think that's totally fine. All right, guys, if you haven't hit that like button yet, please do so. We have 100 people in here right now on a Saturday at 8 o'clock. That's fun. 30 likes. That's not going to get it done at all. Let's run that like number up. We want that ratio at 50-50. Let's go to Minnesota, Memphis. This is going to be the crown jewel of fantasy points. Minnesota, 6.5 point dogs in Memphis, 236 total. This is where it gets big. Now, for Minnesota, everybody's available except for Taurean Prince, who is questionable. On the Memphis side, everybody is available. So we know what we're doing here. We're just going to have to grab rates and bump minutes to playoff rotation minutes. Because we saw Edwards, Russell, both play 37 minutes. Now, Towns obviously fouled out pretty early. Should look a little bit better here, but we're going to gut this entire rotation. They basically went to an 8-man rotation with a very small amount of Jalen Noel. Now, that was on Tuesday. I want to see when Jalen Noel played in that game. Jalen Noel played a rotation right at the beginning, or played his normal first half rotation. For all intents and purposes, did not play that second half rotation. That injury, SMP, that injury for Capella sucks, man. I think Atlanta was sneaky against Miami if they were at full strength. All right, so we're going to start here. 36 minutes for Towns. Boom. Naz Reid, backup. Boom. All that's easy. Pat Bev, I think 32 minutes feels about right there. And at that point, we then get... I don't know if we get that Jalen Noel rotation. We're going to see. I'm gonna, if I have those minutes left over, that's where I'll go. But I'm going to say that D'Angelo Russell then becomes the backup point guard and plays 36 minutes. I'm going to say that Anthony Edwards easily plays 36 minutes. Probably wouldn't even surprise me if he played more. We saw Vanderbilt play 27. We saw Jaden McDaniels play 22. They played barely alongside each other, but it seems to be more Vanderbilt. So I'm going to go Vanderbilt 26. I'm going to go Jaden McDaniels 22. I'm fine with that. I think Beasley, who played 28 minutes in this one, but that was with no Taurean Prince. I'm going to give Beasley a little bit less than that. 26 feels right. And then that can give me 14. Now I can give those 14 minutes to Taurean Prince. I can give those 14 minutes to Jalen Noel. If you told me Jordan McLaughlin played, I wouldn't be surprised. This last piece doesn't really matter. I'm going to give those 14 minutes to Jalen Noel. I don't even think he's going to play that much. In fact, I'm going to take him to 10. I'm going to put Prince in for 4 as like spillover. But let's get... I don't even have to get updated rates. These rates are correct for Edwards, Russell, and Towns. These were pulled really recently. They look awesome. Edwards, Russell, Towns, Beverly, Vanderbilt, all these dudes look really, really good today. Now, on the Memphis side, this is going to be one of the trickier rotations because we know that Memphis has no issue whatsoever playing a big rotation. I don't know what Taylor Jenkins is going to do to shrink this rotation. So we got Ja back for 26 and a half minutes on Saturday. He's been out for basically a week and had been out for what? A month? Close to a month? I'm going to say that Ja Morant plays 34 minutes. We get Tyus backing him up, 14. We're going to get Steven Adams in for 28 minutes. I'm going to give Brandon Clark the backup run at 20. Jaren Jackson can't play 30 minutes here. He's never going to play 30 minutes. So there's 30 for Jackson. 18 for Slow-Mo. We get Desmond Bane in for 34. We get Dylan Brooks in for 34. We get DeAnthony Melton in for 18. We get Zaire Williams in for 10. That's where I think we're going to be landing for a Memphis rotation. Now we got to grab Memphis rates, because I haven't had anything updated for Ja. So what we need to do is grab the rates in games where Jaren Jackson, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Dylan Brooks all played. I don't think this is going to be the biggest sample in the world. So let's grab these rates. Let's see how Memphis looks. Because again, Bane, Brooks, Morant, Jackson, Adams all look real good in comparison to that first game right now. So we'll grab these rates. Boom, boom, boom. I'm excited for this slate. I'm excited to watch basketball today after Liverpool, obviously. Will Brooks get over 30 fantasy points? Tyler, I hope he does. I have a lot of Brooks in my best ball contest. All right, so when all of these guys play, here's what we need to do. We'll start with Bane. We'll just go alphabetical order straight down. Desmond Bane, 20.2% usage rate. The big key here, stops handling the ball. So we'll cut Desmond Bane's assist rate pretty dramatically. Cut the rebounding as well. Dylan Brooks, 28% usage rate. So this guy doesn't stop doing ridiculous nonsense. Everything else is the same. Ja, 29.5% usage rate. Now, I'm not going to cut him the whole way. I'm going to go to 30. I think Ja says, yo, this is my team. Assist rate goes up. Then we get to Jackson, 23% usage rate. That works for me. Not really assisting on anything. Not really rebounding as much either. Still looks really good. And then finally, Steven Adams, 10% usage rate. Oddly enough, handles the ball more than you would expect. Bit of a rebounding bump. Anush, Daniel House should play more than Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay could very well not play. Neither guy matters. All right, here we go. Let's look at this game. And before we do anything crazy, let's switch that to 0. Did I delete everything there? That should have been showing up already. Anyway, Minnesota. Look at all this green. Anthony Edwards is your best option here. 7,900 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DraftKings. But Edwards is great. Towns is great. Russell on DraftKings is great. Beverly on FanDuel is great. Russell on FanDuel, Beverly on DraftKings, both good. Jared Vanderbilt, good. I mean, you're trying to get a lot of Minnesota, but it's not just Minnesota. Dylan Brooks, exceptional. Ja Morant, exceptional. Desmond Bane on FanDuel, exceptional. He's $1,200 more expensive on DraftKings, still looks good. Adams looks good. Jaren Jackson on FanDuel looks great. This is the game to load up on. Look at this. Why is nothing showing up here? Why is nothing showing up? What is the lookup? Oh, there's not a game number? Wait, that can't be right. Why are they not ranking the games? What's going on with my schedule sheet? Is that breaking it? Ah, it is breaking it. There we go. Now we're dancing. Now you guys can see it. Look how good this Minnesota-Memphis game looks in comparison to the first game. the top 5 guys on FanDuel, and 8 and 9 of the top 11 are all from Minnesota, Memphis. You get Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie sneaking in, which no one should be surprised by. On DraftKings, Dinwiddie and Brunson have better prices, so they get to first and third. The other top everybody are all on DK. You're just loading up on Minnesota, Memphis. Incredible game. Incredible game. We're up to 130 people, 53 likes. You guys are doing fantastic. Let's go to game number 3, Toronto and Philly. This one, very interesting to me, just from a basketball perspective. We're going to take rates out. We're going to take everything out. We're going to handle Toronto. Now, we've been projecting Toronto's playoff rotation since October, so this one shouldn't be all that bad, assuming everybody's available. And I don't really know if they are. Everybody's available for Toronto. Everybody's available for Philly, except for Charles Bassey. Don't think that one's going to matter all that much. So, we know what we're doing here. 40 minutes out of Fred VanVleet, obviously. There's no other way I'm going here. They last played Sunday, all this rest. They're not screwing around. 36 minutes for Gary Trent. 36 minutes for OG Anunoby. 36 minutes for Scotty Barnes. I'm going to go to 40 on Pascal Siakam. That leaves us 52 minutes for the rest of these guys. Don't know who it's going to be. We're going to go 20 on Chris Boucher. We're going to go 22 on Precious Achiuwa. And then 10 minutes left over. I'm going to say that it's Thad Young. Feels like he would fit. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. And it won't matter. That's the bigger part. Let's see. 20 and 16. Nope, that doesn't go there. I mean, projecting Toronto doesn't really get much more difficult. There's 5 guys to play. We know who those 5 guys are. I've grabbed these rates more than once, but no reason to not get the updated rates. 5 guys played in this game. Siakam, VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., Scotty Barnes. When all 5 guys play, these are the rates. They play a ton. Yeah, I mean, if Siakam played 44, you're totally expecting it. I don't want to go higher than 40 minutes on any individual guy in game 1. So let's grab these rates. This Toronto-Philly series is fascinating because I don't know what happens to Philly if Toronto wins the series. I mean, obviously, Doc Rivers is not going to be the coach of Philadelphia if they lose in the first round here. But I don't know what other dominoes fall. Alrighty, rate changes, and this is going to be quick. VanVleet, 25.2% usage, but a massive... Oh, that's Siakam. 23.4% usage for VanVleet. 9% assist rate. 4.5% rebounding rates, all fine. Trent, 21.2. Certainly doesn't get any assists. OG Anunoby, 18.6% usage rate. So that usage rate really came down from the beginning of the season. Became a much different player because he started off the season really hot from a usage perspective. Siakam, 25.2. Everything else stays. Actually, I'll give him a bump in rebounding. And then finally, Scotty Barnes, 19% usage rate when all of these guys are available. Nothing else changes. So that is Toronto. Then we go to Philly. Again, this is a team that should be pretty easy to project. We've got a pretty big sample at this point, too. And we know that some of these guys are going to play bigger minutes. That's the key piece. Now, luckily for Philly, this game is in Philly. Otherwise, we would have no Matisse Thybulle. But we saw Tyrese Maxey playing like 38 minutes a game. That's not going to change now. Like, Tyrese Maxey's playing 38 minutes today. James Harden is playing 40 minutes today. We know this. We know this. I'll give Shake 10. But, I mean, we're getting 40 out of we're getting 40 out of Harden. We just are. I think 36 feels most comfortable for me for Embiid, but he's been playing more than that. So I'm going to go to 38. That's going to allow me to go to... I mean, Toronto goes small. I think it's probably going to be Paul Reed. But it might be DeAndre. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter. Harden is overrated is an interesting take. Let's see. Tobias Harris. I mean, 36 minutes feels about right. Thibault, 26. Feels like a good day to go to more Danny Green, something like 22. I think we get 12 out of Niang. And then, am I hiding 8 minutes? I guess these other 8 can go to Shake. Chris, I couldn't agree more. I think that he has a chance to get played off the floor. From an offensive standpoint, I don't know if Philly's going to be able to keep up with him out there. I like that. I like that rotation though. So let's grab the Philly rates, and what we want are games where Harris, Harden, Embiid, and Maxey all started. That's not going to be a huge sample, but it's probably going to be like 10 games or so, maybe even 20 games. 21 games. There we go. So it's a way bigger sample than I thought. We are, I'd like to say, very happy with the rates we're going to see. Like, this is a pretty representative sample. Now, I would expect James Harden's usage rate to go up slightly, but at the same time, James Harden is somebody that likes to shrink in the moment. So there's no telling. Also, unrelated to this slate, but in about an hour, I'm going to be heading downtown and getting a fantastic donut, and I'm already thinking about it. Anush, I don't post my sim results on Twitter anymore before lock because of a couple reasons. One, DFS became a bit of a grind towards the end, and I just didn't feel like doing it. Two, I have been traveling a little bit as of late over this past 2 months, and it's just made me just inconsistent in general. But I'm going to try to do that a lot more during the playoffs now. So keep your eyes peeled. It won't be today. I'm just not going to be around for it. But once I get back into the grind of like the regular week, I'll be updating those things. All right. So what kind of donut? I don't know yet. That's the thing. They do all sorts of different kinds. So like sometimes it's like an apple cider donut with brown sugar and cinnamon. I've had an eggnog donut around Christmas time. I had some sort of like matcha spicy something or other this most recent time that was fantastic. It's like a gourmet donut. They do really well. So it's some of the best baked goods I ever had. If the donut isn't necessarily what I want, they make a coffee cake that is just amazing. Anyway, James Harden, 24.8% usage rate for Philadelphia when all 4 of those guys start. I'm going to go a little bit higher than that, just because it's James Harden, and you just have to assume that the stars are going to take more shots. I'll take a picture and post it if the donut is like extra exceptional. Joel Embiid, 38.2%. Do I pair it with coffee? Yes, I will get a cortado with it. Joel Embiid, 38.2% usage rate with all these guys on the floor. Matisse Thybulle, 10.7% usage rate when all those guys start. So that's kind of interesting. Tobias Harris. When Harden, Maxey, Embiid, and Harris all start, Tobias Harris has a 17.8% usage rate, a limited assist rate, and a limited rebounding rate. Crazy what happens. Maxey, 18.6% usage rate. He's got a 5% assist rate. He does not rebound the ball at all. He looks good. Game number 3 is in the books. We're going to see a lot here that we like. First up is Toronto. Scotty Barnes, FanDuel, 5,500. Amazing play. Van Vliet, both sites. Amazing play. Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby on DraftKings. Really, really good. Loving this side of Toronto. Trent, Siakam, Anunoby on FanDuel. You know you're playing the starting 5 for Toronto. This is nothing crazy. On the Philly side, Joel Embiid is 10,400. He's the best play we've looked at so far. It isn't close. James Harden on DraftKings is 9,200. He's the second best play we've seen. It isn't close. Harden and Embiid look incredible on FanDuel. Maxey looks incredible on both sites. And just so we can know that it's not just my ridiculousness on Maxey, I have him projected for 0.75 fantasy points per minute in this game. That's a 1/10 of a point lower than he's been over the last 30 days. But 38 minutes is legitimate. And don't sleep on that playing time. Game 3. Look at this list now. Look at this. Joel Embiid is a plus 25. He's 9 points better relative to salary than Spencer Dinwiddie. James Harden is 5 points better than Dinwiddie relative to salary. Philly looks amazing because of this increase to playing time, because their salaries have not had that same output. Embiid and Harden are 1 and 2 on FanDuel, and Embiid is actually priced up there. And that says nothing for how good Barnes looks and Van Vliet looks. Like, there's a lot of value on this slate today. A lot. And now we're closing it out. Late night hammer, final game, Denver Nuggets. 6.5 point dogs in Golden State. 223 total. Denver has no time to screw around here. So we're going to get heavy freight out of Nikola Jokic. I'm quite confident of that. Let's look at Denver and let's look at Golden State. For the Denver Nuggets, everybody's available except for Facundo Campazzo for getting suspended. It doesn't matter. Golden State, everybody's available. So we know what we're doing here. We're starting it off. Monty Morris at the point guard spot. Now remember, when they closed this season out, these guys started playing more. Monty Morris, 34 minutes, 36 minutes, 34 minutes. These guys are going to play increased run. I'm going 34 on Monty Morris. We're going 38 to Jokic. I don't know if Cousins is going to get the backup center run, but he probably does in game number 1. But he's going to get played off the floor. I think the backup center is going to become JaMychal Green or Jeff Green. I don't think Cousins is long for the playoffs. So it's not going to matter, but it is a way that JaMychal Green or Jeff Green can get additional playing time. Jeff Green seems in for like 25. I'm going to go 13 to JaMychal Green. And then we can get Aaron Gordon up to 36. We're going to get Will Barton in for 36. And then the rest of this is basically just going to fill itself out. I'm going to say 22 minutes here for Austin Rivers. It's a shame that he's going to have to be out there, but he is. I can tell you now that at least one site out there that isn't us, obviously, but one site out there has Devon Reed projected for minutes. Devon Reed not available here for Denver. Not that it matters. I'm really curious to see how far behind I have Nikola Jokic to Embiid, because if I don't, that becomes like a really like if they're close, it becomes a really crazy decision point today. But I have a sneaky suspicion that Embiid is just going to be like a couple miles ahead of Jokic. I don't know. Maybe not, maybe on DraftKings at least. I haven't seen the prices. All right, so here we go. Now these guys have played massive minutes. Like all of these guys have played 1,000 minutes together starting in the same game. So we know exactly what we're getting here. We're getting Aaron Gordon in for 20% usage. Just the same rates as usual. We're getting Monty Morris in for 16.7% usage. And then all of the other rates are already set. Jokic, 31% usage rate. Feels about right. 12% assist rate. 15% rebounding rate. Incredible. And then Will Barton, 20% usage rate. Handles the ball a little bit more than I was expecting. But we don't have to make any other rate changes here for Denver. We just have to close it out with the Golden State Warriors. Welcome back, Steph Curry. It should come as no surprise that I have no idea how much he's going to play. But I'm guessing he gets like your standard issue starter minutes until we hear differently. And I mean regular season standard issue. So let's say that Steph comes out, plays 32 minutes. I think Jordan Poole is going to come off the bench. I think it's just easier for this team. So I'm going to give him the backup point guard run straight away. I think that we're going to get a decent run out of Kevon Looney just to try to check Jokic a little bit more than normal. I'm going to go to 24 on Looney. Draymond getting the rest of that run. And then up to 34 minutes for Draymond. We know that Wiggins is going to need to play like 34 minutes. I mean, Clay has been playing a bunch more. So I'm going to go to 36 on Clay. The rest of this should be pretty easy. We know we're going to get like 24 minutes out of Otto Porter. Honestly, we're probably going to get more than that out of Otto Porter. I mean, Otto Porter over his last 4 games that he's played 29, 30, 30, and 25. If they're consolidating the rotation, Otto Porter's playing more. I'm giving him 28 minutes. After that, it's kind of just like, how do we figure out who's actually playing? So I think Gary Payton is going to play like 22 minutes. And then I have 14 left over for... Oh, I still got to give Jordan Poole more minutes. Yeah, 14 for Jordan Poole. That takes Poole to 30. That seems about right to me. Now, let's grab rates. And like I said, I'm expecting Poole not to start. If he starts, then I think we're probably going up to like 34. But it doesn't seem like this is the spot where you start the 3 guards. So we're going to say games where Steph played, Clay played. What's funny is if I add Draymond, that's not going to help me out at all here. I'm going to say Steph played, Clay played, and Jordan Poole played. I have to leave Draymond out. Got to text, ship my money back. All righty. Wiggins, 20.3% usage rate. That is way lower than anyone would ever expect. Did I take Draymond off, or is this just really ridiculous? Oh, yeah, there's like no sample for Draymond. I mean, Draymond isn't the type of guy that I need to make rate changes for. Steph Curry, 27.5% usage rate when he, Clay, and Poole all play. That is insane to think about. Let's just put that out there right now. Insane. Clay's got the 28.8% usage rate. He's going to let it fly for sure. Jordan Poole, 22% usage rate in these scenarios. Going to come off the bench, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a bump. But Golden State's not looking all that great in this spot, and that shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Otto Porter doesn't do all that much. Clearly, we can leave Draymond in for whatever. That is Golden State. That is the final team to look at for today's slate. Let's look at this game now, individually first. First one up is going to be Denver. Not going to be a lot here. It's Jokic. Now, Jokic is going to rival Embiid on DraftKings and on FanDuel. It's going to be close, but I think Embiid's the better option. Jokic, power forward eligibility on FanDuel too, which I think actually Embiid does too. But 12K on FanDuel, 10-6 on DK. Jokic is the best option here. Maybe a little bit of Barton and Gordon on FanDuel, but I don't think Denver looks all that good. For Golden State, I actually think Draymond might be your best option. If he's playing big minutes, 6,400 and 6,100. I think Clay on FanDuel at 6,800 is your only other real choice. Steph looks bad. Steph looks downright bad. Well, that's the games, folks. 4 up, 4 down. You can see Jokic slots in right next to Embiid, but Embiid the better option, slightly cheaper too. Just prefer Embiid here. And then Jokic, 6th, but no real priorities coming out of coming out of Denver or Golden State outside of Jokic. But now it's time for crunches, folks. So if you're still here and you're part of the 175 people hanging out for the process show, I had no concept that I was going to get this many people in here today. Look what happens when you kick this one off at 8 o'clock in the morning. You get people. But here's the deal. 75 likes is unacceptable. If we've got 175 people in here, we need 100 likes right now. Hit that thumbs up. It's the weekend. It's the first day of the playoffs. Let's get it done. Now let's run our optimals. Let's check it out. First one up, FanDuel optimals. This should be a good time. And again, remember, Liverpool taking on Man City in a little bit. Go Reds. Here we go. Optimal lineups on FanDuel for today. $97 likes. We're knocking on the door. Here we go. The optimal 350.3. Spencer Dinwiddie, Pat Bev, James Harden, Desmond Bain, Scotty Barnes, Dylan Brooks, Joel Embiid, Jaren Jackson, and Steven Adams. Crazy to me that you don't get Brunson, but he's in the second best option lineup where you swap out Dinwiddie for Brunson, which is fun to see. 100 likes. We got to our mark. Now let's look at power rankings. And guys, don't forget, we've got a ton of content coming up for today. It's not as if you're getting me instead of something else. This is bonus content for you guys. That's what we're talking about here. We have the NBA Live Before Lock show coming up at noon, going from 12 till 1:30. You don't want to miss that one. We've got another NBA Live Before Lock show today, 5 to 6. You don't want to miss that one. Lots of good stuff going on. Lots of NBA coverage. Here we go. Power rankings. Dylan Brooks, Joel Embiid, Scotty Barnes, James Harden, Jalen Brunson. That's everybody above 30%. I'll go everybody above 25. Van Vliet, Morant, Beverly, Dinwiddie, Jokic, Russell, Edwards, Maxey. Now, we move along to DraftKings. DK up first. I don't know why I said DK up first. We already did FanDuel. Everything I said is stupid. DraftKings next. Projections in. Optimal lineup on DK for the opening day of the playoffs. 307.2. Wow, by 1.4. Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, Dylan Brooks, Maxi Kleber, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Jared Vanderbilt, and Kevon Looney. That is a wild-looking lineup. Not sure I like that at all. Not sure I like that at all. Now we'll go DK power rankings. No, you cannot get that accent again. All right, power rankings. What the hell did I project Maxey for? Is there that little value on DK? How the hell is Maxey popping like that? Okay, 3,300 power forward center, 26 minutes. Okay, never mind. It's not as crazy as it seems. Maybe it is. I don't know. All right, power rankings on DraftKings. Maxi Kleber at the top of the list. Spencer Dinwiddie a close second, but no one else is anywhere near them except for Jalen Brunson in the 3 spot. Draymond Green, D'Angelo Russell, OG Anunoby, Harden, Embiid, Dylan Brooks, Anthony Edwards. That's everybody 24% or higher. Guys, I think we're done here. I think we're looking good. 4-game slate looks great. We don't really have a ton of news that we're worried about. As long as someone doesn't get popped into health and safety protocols, this one should be pretty easy to handle. But I hope that you guys enjoyed our pop-up process show. So we can talk about one quick thing. I'm going to do a process show every day. There's 3 playoff games. So there's going to be 1 or 2 of them more. So we got today's, obviously. I'm not doing a process show on Sunday. That's just not happening. At least I don't think that I am. Maybe I shouldn't say that so flippantly. Yeah, no, we're not doing a process show on Sunday. I never do. But for Monday, 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, we got a process show. Tuesday, 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, we got a process show. Wednesday, 1 game, 2 game, 3 games, we got a process show. Thursday, 1 game, 2 game, 3 game, we got a process show. Friday, 1, 2, 3, we got a process show. You got me back for the full week next week, folks. I hope you enjoy that. I know I do. So that is it, everybody. I'm done talking about it all. I really appreciate having you. 180. How many people did we get to here? We got to 187, 113 likes. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for joining me on this endeavor. It's a fun time. I love this show more than anything. I'm really excited to do a bunch of them next week. So thank you guys for being here. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all of that good stuff. Awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo is what you're looking for. Win some money. Good luck, everybody. Go Liverpool. This was the process.